Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the CPD Group podcast. We have a special guest with us today who is the founder of the Care Connector Network. We have Iain Clague with us. Hello, Iain. How are you doing? You all right?
Hi, Andy. Yeah, I'm good. How are you?
I'm very well indeed. Thank you very much for joining us today. I mean, we appreciate your time. The Care Connector Network, for everybody out there, is something that I'm quite close to. I'm involved in the Care Connector Network at the moment. So I wanted to get Iain onto the podcast today to tell us all about it, because it's a fantastic network for all of those involved. So Iain, let's get down to it. Tell us a little bit about yourself and what brought you to this stage of your career.
Well, it starts really back right at the beginning of my life. So my mum was a carer of the elderly nurse all my life, or all her working life, and after she left the Navy as a nurse. And I was born up here in Scotland. I was born in Elgin. My dad was based at Lossiemouth, and my dad then went back to sea. And just after I was born, and the matron wanted my mum back at work. My mum did nights, and basically she says, well, I've got the wee one, or the bairn as they call him up there. And the matron went, that's not a problem, we'll put a cot in one of the rooms and he can go and sleep in with one of the ladies. And basically that was my introduction to care homes. I used to go and sleep in care homes as a youngster, and of course, because of that, as I grew up, we moved to the south coast of England, and as a young boy going into care homes on the south coast of England with all the war veterans, all the stories. So I used to love it, as a young boy, told about all the things, that you don't actually realize what is happening until you get older, and then you realize maybe it's not as good as it sounded. But it's always something, so it's always been there. And I was either going to be a nurse like my mum, or a chef. That was my two career choices in where I wanted to go. And I decided to go down the chef route for a lot of reasons. But it was, so it's always been there in the background, and I worked all over. I worked in, I worked my way up as a chef to head chef's positions, and then I went and worked on private yachts out in the Mediterranean and Caribbean. And I did that for a few years, and then I came back to the UK, and I then worked freelance, going into some of the top end establishments like Skibo Castle, Cameron House, things like that. Yeah. And then I got into management. And then I think it was about 30. And I thought, can I and do I want to do this for another 35 years? I'd been chefing since I was 13, 14. And I decided no. And as we'll probably find out as we go through this, I don't do things in little snippets. I tend to do big things. And we'll come to why that is a little bit later on. But I was looking at a 12-week course in nutrition, because people at the gym used to ask me, what can I eat to put weight on? What can I eat to lose weight? So I thought, a 12-week course in nutrition, and then I can go into the gym and do this, which turned into 2 years at college and then 5 years at university studying human nutrition and dietetics. And then I set up a nutrition and catering management consultancy for the care sector, because going back to that care side, while I was at university, I worked a lot in agency and worked with, or worked in a lot of care establishments, and was quite shocked, shall we say, at the way nutrition was delivered to the people that were in there. I even had one matron as I walked through the door tell me they like bland food and small portions, and I went, who does? And when I actually cooked for them, they ate larger portions and it wasn't bland. You know, and that was the way that I wanted to go, and make a difference in that side of things. I then found out that I would go into places and I would work with them. People would do what I wanted them to do while I was there, and then I would go away, come back, and they were doing exactly what they were doing before I went in. And really? I was like, why is that happening within this space? So I started digging a little bit more, and it actually led me to going over to America and studying behavioral leadership and behavioral performance management. So looking at human behavior and behavioral analysis, why do people do what they do? And what can we do to actually make a difference? So again, as I say, don't do things by half. Went over across the world, halfway across the world, came back and started introducing that as well into what I was doing. And then fast forward to 2020, or 2020, I was actually down in Plymouth when the little bug arrived that threw the world into disarray. And basically on my drive back from Plymouth, I was working with a care group down there, care home down there. And on my drive back, every single one of my clients rang me and cancelled.
Right.
Yeah, you can imagine that was a nice that was a nice 10-hour drive. And I was then sat here basically. I work from home and I haven't really moved in the past 5 years. It feels like it anyway. And I started to see the silos even more clearly, and the fact that people struggle to talk to each other and things like that. So I set up the network. Well, actually, I set up a Facebook group, because what happened was somebody on a Facebook group asked about nutrition, and it was actually vitamin D and COVID. And I said, give me a week, I'll go do some deep diving, I'll come back, and I got berated for advertising what I did.
Right.
And I was like, whoa, this isn't, I'm not trying to take money off of anybody. I'm trying to help. We're all in a crisis. Yeah. You know, I want to offer my services and what I'm good at and what I know. And I just went up and set up a Facebook group. And I just said to people, look, if you're looking for some help, ask. If you sell something and want to post up once a week, do so. And that's where it initially kicked off. It wasn't called the Care Connector then. It was called for those that provide services and products to those that procure them within the care sector. I know it was catchy and I should have kept it, but
that's very catchy.
As I said, it was set up out of frustration. and that's basically where it all started from.
Brilliant. So in terms of the Care Connector network, you know, starting from that little Facebook group and then coming to where you are now, I mean, who is it mainly aimed at? Who is it that you're looking to join as the membership, and what can those members benefit from being part of the network?
When I set it up, because when I went and actually did some digging into the people that were actually saying stuff about me trying to profit when I was trying to help, I realized that they were from larger organizations that had that back office support, that had that, you know, the people that could be looking into that stuff while the other people were actually trying to deal with the crisis.
Right.
And then when I started doing a little bit more digging, I realized this was before ChatGPT, so you had to do it all manually. And I realized that there was so many care businesses out there that just had sort of one business, right? Now, because of ChatGPT and things like that, and actually looking more into it, 83% of care businesses in the UK have got one registered service. Right?
Yeah. That's a lot.
So they don't have that back office.
Yeah.
They don't have the training department. They don't have the HR. They don't have procurement, all this sort of stuff. So I really wanted to help those people. And then from the other side was the suppliers, the smaller suppliers that don't have the big marketing budgets, that have got an idea into what they, they're good at what they do. They're good with the product that they've come up with. They've seen a gap in the market. It's amazing. It would make a massive difference. Or a service or a training program or something that's going to really make a difference, but they don't have the voice to be able to be seen and heard against people with bigger marketing budgets.
Yeah.
So that was the original thought process within this, and the Facebook, I did nothing with it really until Christmas, because we were playing the Okie Kokie with lockdown. And it was when we got to Christmas, and I was supposed to be going back out on the road again in January, after rearranging every few months to go back out. And then we went back into lockdown, and I thought we need to do something different. That is when I changed the name from what we had and started the Care Connector network.
Right.
And it was to start helping with that education point, really, educating people about why they need all these things that are out there. When I started us again, we started looking into it, and we identified there was around 250 different category of supplier, or type of supplier, should I say. That's now well over 900.
Wow. Yeah.
Right, that a care business will use in its lifetime. From concept to demolishment, there's around 900 different types of care of supplier.
It's quite a large number, isn't it?
It is. I mean, some of them can be done by one company. There might be,
absolutely.
If you've got a facilities company, they might provide the electrician, the plumber, the plasterer, the paint and decorator and stuff. But individually, they're all different types of
different
supplier.
services they require, isn't it?
Yeah,
absolutely.
And that's really where we started looking at it, was identifying those people and trying to help them, and give them an access point and a voice, a way, or in a space that was the Facebook group. But then that changed in 2021 when somebody asked me on one of our networking events, our weekly huddles. So they've been running since 2020 as well. The weekly huddles have been running since 2020.
Excellent.
It's the only one that runs every week. That is actually a face-to-face stroke on Zoom event that is run every single week. I've run it on Christmas Day before. I've run it on this day, and we've had people on it.
Dedicated to the mission.
Well, I think more trying to get away from what's going on in the house, but we've had people there, But that was really where, we started all that sort of stuff. And then one of the weekly huddles in November, I think it was, someone said, can't we have our own dedicated platform like LinkedIn and Facebook, but for social care? As I say, don't do little things. I say yes, then realize that playing Candy Crush is my IT limit, and I'm now going to have to try and work out how to do this. But as you know, we have a platform now that is dedicated to social care, and everyone that's in social care, not just the leaders. But what we've done is we've done it in such a way that actually the groups within the platform are all closed groups, and you have to ask for access to them or be invited into them, you know. So we know who is in the groups, and what I mean by that is we know that it's the right people in the right group, and no one can see what anyone else is rating. So the managers can't see what's in the owners group, the carers can't see what's in the managers group, and vice versa. You know,
a safe space for people to communicate.
Safe space for people to be, absolutely.
Yeah.
No, that's a brilliant idea. I mean, I really like the idea and the concept of the Care Connector network. I mean, I joined the Huddles, you know, we'll touch on those a little bit later, but, you know, I find them really useful just to hear other people's, you know, what's going on in their world and to find out exactly if there's anything that we can contribute to actually help them in their scenarios, you know. So just kind of looking at yourself a little bit more, Iain. So you've been quite open in the past and on your website, etc., about your own neurodiversity. So how has that shaped your leadership style and your vision for the Care Connector network?
Yeah, it's, as I say, that's why I tend not to do little things. It tends to be because I see big pictures instantaneously. You know, people say, how long did it take to come up with the Care Connector network? And I say about 3 minutes. And it's like, I know you had the Facebook group, but how long did it take to come up with everything else that you do? That's in about 3 minutes. You know, because, and it probably even quicker than that. You know, people feed information into my brain, and it's like a big bang happens every single time. I've said this before on other podcasts, that things come in, I take it all in, and then it just sort of like explodes, and the picture of how everything should be, what we could do, what we can do, happens instantaneously. You know,
that's really interesting.
And I can be talking to people on a call, and I'm already working out, or I've already decided who I'm going to introduce them to, how I'm going to help them with their issues, what their main issues are. And these things are starting to come together now within what we were looking at, you know. And it's the way I look at things, you know, is a bit different. And you met Graham, and Graham works with me, and it's amazing. He's been absolutely amazing with everything. And he listens to what I say as well. So like in the beginning, he used to say, oh, let's put that in a box. And it's like, can't put it in a box. If it goes in a box, it's gone. We can put it on the shelf, but we still need to be able to see it. If we hide it, it'll go out of my mind, because I'll be on to the next thing. And we're always moving forward on what needs to get done. So is it a hindrance? Absolutely. You know, the time it takes me to put together posts, the way that I put stuff out, used to be, or still is, it can take me forever, right? Again, you know, it's really helpful that things like ChatGPT came along, and I started using it right from day one.
Right.
And the difference is that I've taught it about me, the network, what we do. So it helps. I use it as basically another part of the business, another person within the business. But a lot of things just take so long, you know, and because my mind is always racing at 900 miles an hour, there's always stuff coming in because I always see problems. But then when I see those problems, I look at how can I solve those problems, so that we can go into it rather than just keep going out there with problems. How can we go out there with the solution to that problem?
Absolutely, yeah.
Right, and provide that solution, and not provide the problem or add to the problem. You know, and as I was saying about like before with the program that we're looking at doing, you know, there's something much bigger that we're launching from that, because of some stuff that I did when we went deep diving, you know, and I'm sure we'll talk about it later on. But yeah, it's helpful and a hindrance at the same time. You know, I wish I could switch off sometimes. I really do wish that I could. No one in business ever switches off. When you've got your own business, you never switch off. Everyone that's listening to this that's got their own business will know that, right? But some people can switch down. I can never switch down.
Yeah.
You know.
Absolutely. Just full throttle all the time for you, Ian.
Yeah. You know, it's like at care shows and stuff like that. As you know, we're partners with a lot of the care shows and stuff, and we attend them and stuff. You know, and I've just been asked to join the what's the word for it? Dyslexic brain. Hold on, it'll come to me in a minute. The advisory board
panel piece.
Yeah, that's it. For care shows, you know, and I'm full throttle, and people go, "How do you do it?" And like, because I then spend the weekend hiding in a dark corner somewhere. You know, so it is about that. And I do want to change care, and we can only do that together. We need to bring people together to make that happen.
Absolutely. I mean, you're extremely passionate about this stuff, Ian, and I know this from the interactions we've had previously. One thing I also know about you is you're passionate about supporting unpaid carers as well, aren't you? So what drives that commitment, you know, and how do you plan to support them in the future?
I think the drive comes from the fact that one of the neurodiverse traits is that you see social injustices that you really want to change and have an impact on. Absolutely. You know,
yeah.
And again, I started looking into. When I was setting up the network itself, I was and ahhing whether to set it up as a business or a charity. I wanted to go down the charity route, and then of course I spoke to an accountant and they persuaded me otherwise. But I've always wanted to support the people that don't have that support, you know, and they're around registered care, unpaid carers in the UK, around 7.5 million.
Wow.
Right. Now, I know that number is low because of people that I've spoken to.
Yeah.
And then you've got your hidden carer, which is the family members. Yeah. So you might have one member who is the registered unpaid carer, but then you might have 4 or 5 family members that also chip in to do caring.
Absolutely. Right?
And then, because I started looking more and more into this, the numbers started getting more and more scary.
I can imagine.
And there are 600 people a day leaving their job to become unpaid carers because they don't get support from the workplace.
Wow. That's a staggering number.
It's massive. It's huge, right? Because if you need to take mum to the, and it's not even just the people that are leaving work, it's the presenteeism within the workspace as well. Okay. That is costing the country lots of money. And I'll tell you how much that is in a minute. But the reason for that is it's called presenteeism. I don't know whether you've heard of it. Some people have, some people haven't. So presenteeism is where you are in the workplace, but you're not actually focused on the workplace.
Yeah.
Right? Because if you need to take mum to the hospital next Wednesday, right, as a carer, right, unpaid carer, hidden carer, whatever it might be, and you're working out how to ask your boss again if you can have next Wednesday afternoon off to take mum to the hospital, right? Are you focused on what you're doing?
Yeah, absolutely. I see what you mean. Yeah,
Right.
absolutely. Your thoughts
And
are
then,
elsewhere at that time, aren't they?
absolutely, right? And then, even if they do ask and you say no, so if I asked you, Andy, can I get next Wednesday afternoon off to take mum to the hospital, and you say no, mum still needs to go to the hospital next Wednesday.
Yeah, that creates a whole new thought process that takes you away from your work, doesn't it?
It's not changed that thing, right? So this is where sickness goes up as well.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Absenteeism. So you've got that and that going on. They reckon that costs the UK economy about 15.8 billion pounds a year.
Right. Another staggering number.
Right. And then I looked at it, as I said, things come in. Then I looked at it and I went, but no one's talking to each other. Again, the silo side of things. Everything works in silos because no one talks about care, right? Until we need it. And then, so 90-odd%, 95%, something like that, of care is chosen in a crisis because no one knows how to talk to the care sector, right? Or they don't know that they can talk to the care sector. Then I looked at, again, these figures of 83%. And I went, okay, so we've got 83% of care homes. Now, not, you've got the ones that say that they can't bring in training because they can't release enough staff. Because as a trainer, you're going to charge, let's just say, for instance, £500 a day.
Yeah.
Now, it doesn't make any difference to you how many people are in the room. That's what your fee is, right? But we might only get 6 in the room. But you've got all these unpaid carers out there that are doing the job of a carer, but not having the same training.
Yeah, of course.
Right. So they're still having to do the moving and handling, the medication, the infection control, the nutrition, all this sort of stuff. So I thought to myself, well, what if we could link everybody up and start that conversation earlier? What if we could then go to start up a foundation charity that can support the unpaid carers, but also it's then going to help that process happen? Because if you owned a small care home, where you might have 12 residents or something like that, so you've only got 24 staff, you're only going to be able to release 6 of them for training. What if we said, well, what we could do is we could help you by paying something towards the training if you open your doors to the unpaid carers to be able to come in and do that training.
That sounds like a fantastic idea, or a bit of a no-brainer even.
Right.
Yeah.
And what's going to happen then is that's actually going to introduce these people into the care system and get people talking, right?
Talking to experienced members of staff from the sector as well.
Absolutely. And this is the whole thing. So it all starts to come together, right? So that conversation is starting, so that the people that are actually doing the caring at home are also have that training and that understanding of what they should be doing without that fear of not being able to do it. Because there's a lot of charities out there that do amazing work, and do amazing things with carers, but they don't have the resources or the assets to be able to do this sort of stuff. And I'm like, well, hold on a minute, I've got a network of professionals over here that could help all these people over here.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right? And get that conversation going.
Yeah.
And then start talking to corporate as well about, did you know this is what's happening in your business? You could help these people by supporting us to be able to support them to make sure that they stay in the workplace. Because a lot of people that are leaving the workplace aren't even on minimum wage either. Then we're not talking about minimum wage workers, because it's people, as they get older, their parents are getting older. So
absolutely, the higher up the chain,
higher up the chain, right?
Yeah.
So the employment costs and replacement costs of that are massive. The lost knowledge that goes with that person is massive. So this whole thing is just,
it's a big cycle, isn't it?
It's huge, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So this is what we're looking to do. We're looking to set up a foundation that is going to be able to support these unpaid carers. They can use the platform as well. We'll bring them into the platform. they will then have access to the people that are in the platform to be able to ask questions and get support, right? And this is what we're looking to do. This is what our 2026 plan is. We're going to start it up in Scotland, just because I'm getting a lot more support from the people around Scottish government and stuff up here than I was when I tried to talk to the UK government as per normal. But, you know, we'll start it up here and then hopefully roll it down into the rest of the UK, sort of like 2027, late 2026, early 2027, right? Because if we can get the support for it and we can start getting people understanding what we're doing, why we're doing, and they support that, that's going to have that bigger impact, you know. Yeah. Because we can't support the unpaid carers financially. As I said, there's too many of them, right? Yeah, but what we can do is introduce them into the sector, introduce them to the people within the sector, and get people understanding about care.
Absolutely. I mean, it sounds like a fantastic program, to be fair, with the charity and the foundation being the core of it. You know, so hopefully you get the support that you're looking for, get that working model in place in Scotland and be able to roll it out across the UK. I mean, that just sounds, as I said earlier, a bit of a no-brainer to me. You know, but going back to what you mentioned earlier in terms of the Huddle, you know, and it's all about communication. I mean, I'm part of the Huddle. I join you on a Wednesday, you know, to have a chat with people and everything. But tell us a little bit more about the Huddle sessions, you know, because you offer personalised kind of one-to-one interactions there. You have group discussions. People do the spotlight, which I'm actually doing for you tomorrow, in fact.
You are?
Yes. Yeah. So, and it's looking to offer, like, the network's support to people of how they can solve issues that they're facing and things like that. So tell us a little bit more about that Huddle, what it's for, the one-to-one sessions, and what you hoped people achieve from it.